So things are getting pretty serious for Bitcoin and cryptos, including Dogecoin, as the future of global markets is looking pretty bleak right now. I'm going to talk about some important data and updates about it, so don't miss out on anything. So first of all, we are now seeing that Bitcoin has fallen back to the 38K price region. With this dip, it has fallen below the support zone around 39K, and this means that things are getting more and more bearish for it. Meanwhile, we can see here that there is extreme fear sentiment in the market, and investors are not willing to show confidence in Bitcoin and cryptos. And it appears that Bitcoin and Dogecoin are going to face more troubles in the coming days since the global stock markets are tumbling. We are now seeing that cryptos are highly correlated with stocks, and this is why they are also moving to the downside. Similarly, chief commodity strategist of Bloomberg, Mike McGlone, believes that Bitcoin may take a dive back to the 30K level once again. He believes that the upcoming week for risk assets like Bitcoin and stocks is going to be rough. We can see here on this chart shared by McGlone that Bitcoin and Nasdaq 100 futures are moving in the same trajectory, and both are going down at the moment. So what it means is that Mike McGlone is hinting that Bitcoin is again correlating with the stock market. And since the overall outlook of global stocks is not looking good, we may see Bitcoin sliding down further from here. And markets commentator Holger Z. Sheepitz is saying that global equities have lost about $2.9 trillion in market cap this week as war could trigger major stagflationary shock. He is saying that economists have cut their growth forecasts and raised inflation projections. Moreover, global stock markets are now worth $110 trillion, which looks expensive for the current situation. So this means that investors are currently avoiding stock markets and they are seeking safe haven in gold. We can see here that the U.S. equity futures have fallen as oil prices momentarily jumped to their highest level since 2008 amid the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. Dow futures lost 300 points, while S&P 500 futures and Nasdaq 100 futures slid 0.7 and 0.8%, respectively. So the thing is that investors are now avoiding both stocks and cryptos amid this war situation, and they are now heavily investing in gold. In fact, investors are turning to gold-based ETFs for safety amid the Russia-Ukraine conflict and resulting stock and crypto market volatility. So seeing this worsening condition of global markets, analyst Pintoshi is saying that the most exciting thing this year will be global markets collapsing. He is saying that any market that trades above zero will be too high. People will call this the Greater Depression, which will be 10 times worse than the Great Depression. So the point is that global markets are currently down, and we may even see more volatility in the future, and this may turn out to be devastating for Doge, Bitcoin, and others. However, analysts from Bloomberg held a decidedly different stance on Bitcoin and cryptos. In its latest crypto market outlook report, we can see that Bloomberg Intelligence has remained bullish on Bitcoin. The report states that most assets are subject to the ebbing tide in 2022 on the inevitable reversion of the highest inflation in 4 decades, but this year may mark another milestone for Bitcoin. It has highlighted the point that Bitcoin is showing divergent strength versus Nasdaq. The Nasdaq 100 stock index is down about 13% in 2022 through March 2. And despite higher volatility, Bitcoin has dropped only about 5% this year. So if Nasdaq keeps sinking, cryptos will be poised to ride out the falling tide. Now I know that currently, Bitcoin is correlating with stocks. But last week, we witnessed that it decoupled from stock when stocks fell and Bitcoin surged amid this war. And it was not the only time we saw Bitcoin decoupling from stocks. On February 22nd, Bitcoin seemingly uncoupled from the S&P 500, hinting at the possibility that the Russia-Ukraine conflict has driven demand for Bitcoin and subsequently prompted an industry-wide rally. The thing is that this war situation can help Bitcoin and cryptos decouple from stocks. This is because we have been seeing the utility of cryptos during this crisis situation. When people were able to use banks and ATM in Ukraine, cryptos turned out to be their rescuer. Similarly, we know that Ukraine has been getting millions of dollars worth of donations in cryptos. People are not making donations in stocks but cryptos. So these are some things that make cryptos different from stocks. Now to conclude this, let's see this tweet from crypto analyst Matthew Hyland. So what he is saying is that if Bitcoin was uncorrelated from the stock market, it would be performing the way gold has performed since December. So it means that Bitcoin is correlated to the stock market and it is not decoupled. However, he believes that perhaps one day Bitcoin does decouple, but until it happens, you can't conclude it has or will. So I think that we can't conclude anything right now, and we have to wait and see how things unfold in the future. In any case, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Bitcoin and Dogecoin are going to decouple from cryptos?